Hey guys, we are live now, and if I'm audible, I am visible, audible. If everything is fine, let us just know what's happening, okay? And we will start our session. We have Max Weber today talking about responsive web design. So, very first thing is please let us know if we are live or not, and we are you guys able to hear me? Am I audible or not? So we're gonna talk almost about, we don't know how much we can extend. It depends on what interaction we have from you guys as well. So let us know that I'm audible and I'm visible, so that we can just go ahead and actually talk with our guest today. So this is the series which we are calling as TC Talks, and we're gonna have some more guests in this series, right? So it is going to be a great experience for this all stream. So I guess we are getting the response from the audience, and let's bring in our first guest on this series, Max Weber, who is a Flutter developer and working on a YouTube channel called Flutter Explained. So let's go ahead and bring him to our stream. So, hey Max,
Hey
how are
everyone.
you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so first of all, a very big thanks for accepting our invitation and coming to the training codes. And it's been I cannot explain my happiness that I am having some guest on my channel. So thanks a lot one more time. And so Max, can you introduce yourself? What exactly you do and how is your journey so far?
Sure, with pleasure. Thank you for having me once more time. It was really great to be on your channel. That is fantastic. I hope everyone else is also very happy to see me here. Well, my story is quite boring, I would say. I'm a software engineer from the university, got my degree there as a Bachelor of Science. And then I'm coming as a consultant working. So I started as a software consultant for CRM systems. So CRM is customer relationship management. And from there, I worked a lot with JavaScript. Because there was a very old system that got like completely new invented in their front end part. And so I learned a lot of JavaScript, a lot of CSS, but also just plain with jQuery in the later time. And that was I had that experience like 3 years. And after that, I said, it's enough. Enough of normal plain JavaScript with jQuery, enough of that whole framework. It is just slow. It was boring. It was sluggish. So I started something else. And I said, okay, learning Java and Angular. So I learned Java Spring, introduced me there, and started to learn Angular. It was 2 point something in time there. So it was pretty new. And I started to create some examples with that, and every time with web development. And it was last year, I think, in Google I/O 2019, when I saw the first time Flutter. And it was like I worked already with Ionic and Cordova, and PhoneGap is the name, I think. So all with that JavaScript frameworks to create some mobile applications. And also Xamarin was a part. And it was always sluggish. It somehow also didn't have the possibility to give me the result that I wanted from a mobile application. And I also had the problem with normal Android development and iOS development that I didn't really want to get into it, because I was like, XML is not really my favorite language for anything. So that was part Android. And for iOS, it is very hard if you don't have so much money, or you don't want to invest so much money to get started, because like Apple, everything costs money, not less. And so I decided, okay, I have it on hold. And then in Google I/O 2019, there were so many big promises and bold promises from Flutter team that like hot reload, hot refresh with keeping state in place during the refresh, having all these cool things. The development process was fantastic. I saw the first time some plugins there where I said, these guys made some ideas for developers and not just for the product owners or for people who are just creating features, which is also very important. And they also resolve all the promises there, but also keeping an eye on the developer side, so that we are having a very cool experience with the tool, right? And that they promised that everything, and I took a look, and I have like 2 or 3 months where I just prototyped around beside of my job, and I really loved it. It was like, okay, you have the type language, you have a strong framework, you have the plugins in place, the ideas for the developers are there, so you really have a community that is also very interested to bring that forward. And so I decided to keep with that and improve it, and now I'm like a big part of that community, and I really love that.
So yeah, we have a huge community for Flutter, and they are doing very, very great stuff. They organized the hackathon, and from my side, a big congratulations to the 3 hackathon winners. And we were also a part, but we stood 12th in the leaderboard. And yeah, kudos to our team as well. So moving from there, you had a great experience working on Flutter. So can you tell more about your Flutter channel with
Sure.
what exactly you do on that, so that our audience can understand what exactly they can learn from your channel as well?
Sure. So on my YouTube channel, Flutter Explained, I try to create like a Wikipedia for Flutter. So if you search for a widget with my name behind, you will find something. That was my first initial idea that I wanted to create. So I started with very basic stuff. Like I think I really started with responsive design actually. And that was like this year when I really got into it, when I said, okay, full-time Flutter, there is no other language. This year, Flutter, nothing else. And last year, I started already with some live streams, and you can find them on my channel, but they are really bad. So I don't can tell you that this is a good idea to watch. But I wanted to start just to bring these different kinds of widgets and the different parts that you have to learn, and also as a starter and beginner to get really easy into Flutter and understand everything very easily. And for that, I started to get myself into that learning process, because if you try to explain something to someone, you have to know it yourself, right? You need to be very aware what you're talking about. And you really take more time to understand it and bring it forward if you take the time to understand it completely. And this was the idea of the channel, and this is till today. Now it's a bit bigger, of course, so everything has also changed a little bit. Now we start with live streaming, where I'm coding alone sometimes with Mahtab. She joined also the channel in between, and she really, we try to improve ourselves there with Flutter and try to bring that to the community so that we learn all together and make it as easy as possible and to have a great experience together.
So my personal experience, watching you on a live stream, I enjoy a lot. I work on my, like, I'll be working somewhere with my office work. I'll be doing my office work, and on the other hand, I'll be seeing your live stream, so that I enjoy my work and I won't feel more bored over there. So I really enjoy it. So guys, go ahead and check it out, Flutter Explained channel. That there is amazing stuff over there. You can just go ahead and learn the basics of Dart as well. I personally saw a couple of videos, and it is amazing. So coming to our main discussion point, responsive apps or responsive design in Flutter, and this is the more important stuff when it comes to a developer perspective as well as an end user's perspective. So can you just tell our audience that what is responsive design?
Yeah. So responsive design means that your app is trying to respond to what you are doing. So if you are making your browser smaller, for example, the browser should, or the window inside should respond to that, what you are doing, and the sizes and order of the objects, or even remove some features if the screen is getting too small. Or on the other hand, if it's getting bigger, you get more possibilities, more capabilities inside, and it's getting rearranged in the way that it is very easy to use. So for example, you have a button somewhere on a desktop computer, you have it very easily to click it just, and it works. But on a mobile device, you have your thumb, and I'm now lucky, I have a very small thumb, but some people have a very big one, and then they have to hit a button, and they have to be careful that they don't hit 5 buttons at once. So This is responsive design. It should behave like perfectly on your device and also on the screen size that you have. And today, in the modern days where you have like billions of different screen sizes, I think I saw a diagram from Android somewhere where you started on a very small side and then it's getting like incredible big on the other side. So there are so many different devices and so many different screen sizes that you can support, that you really should care about this responsive part, because you can't be sure which type of device your users and your key audience will use at the end.
Okay, so basically, responsiveness is you have to write your application in such a way that it should run perfectly same on all different devices, whether it is going to be a mobile phone, tablet, or a desktop. So what are the important thing, or how can we start building a responsive designs in Flutter?
The easiest part to start with is, of course, to get on the flutter.dev website, and there is a fantastic starting point where you get really the information about responsive design and how you can create that. I think the easiest part that you can at least give a little bit of responsiveness to your app is the media query of context, because that gives you the information about your screen width, your screen height, and all the different parts like the sizing and also the visual density since the last patch. So you have now the possibilities to work a little bit more closer with these information. And if you want to have a starting point, this is really good. Another thing is the layout builder, which gives you the possibility to get like some constraints of the elements in which you are working in. And with that, you have the possibility to organize them depending on these constraints. So if you are having a very high screen, you can rearrange them differently than if you have a narrow screen. And yeah, this is my recommendation to get a starting point for Flutter responsiveness. And if you get, of course, deeper inside, there are so many options there that you really should get a read into it, because that is really a fantastic thing then.
Yeah, so basically, if we want to detect the orientation of our device, whether our device is in a portrait mode or a landscape mode, and that specific period of time, like which widget we can use it, and then we can get it. I guess layout builder is going to be more, and as well as we have one more widget called orientation builder, and we have many more properties along with media query. So media query is the class which will give you many stuff like the max width, max height, and yeah, you can go ahead and build some great UI using a responsive UI using a media queries. So
absolutely,
yeah. So have you worked on Flutter Web? What is your experience on working on Flutter Web? And when it comes to responsive design, of course, the Flutter Web is into the picture, because we make a website that should work on browsers as well as on your mobile phones as well. So what's your experience on Flutter Web?
In regards to responsive design, I think the Flutter team made a very good job for the Flutter Web yet. So I could really create a lot of stuff in different parts, because the media query off is working nearly exactly the same in web. And I couldn't find so many limitations yet. So I could really create different applications for me that really responds to that what I wanted to have at the end as a result. And thanks to that and my CSS background, it is getting very easy to create the experience that you really want to achieve. And I think I did once in a live stream where we created like a base widget that contains all the information about the large screen, small screens, and so on, and giving the different breaking points. And so we could give as children inside of that widget the different parts, and it really responded to that like we wanted to. So if we had a big screen, it automatically rearranged on that. And if we made it smaller, it also automatically improved there. And there are also some other widgets that I highly can recommend. So for example, the animated text style, I think it's also great. If you're getting in a bigger screen, you can animate your font sizing automatically smaller. And that's fantastic that such a stuff exists there.
Yeah, so we can have a great experience even working on Flutter Web as well. Yes. So do you recommend any packages which is available on pub.dev? So if audience doesn't know what is pub.dev, then it's a marketplace where you will get find plugins and packages which you can directly use into your Flutter application. And yeah, they both works on Flutter Web and Flutter apps as well. And for more description, it will be a specific to that particular packages. So what are the packages which you recommend to work with responsive design in Flutter?
So that's a very good question. I start actually to take a look into Rody Davis' package. He called it responsive scaffold. So you have the possibility to create free columns automatically. And he has the cool thing that if you click on a list item, it automatically displays on the details page on the right side and so on. So these things are already implemented and ready to use, which is fantastic in my opinion. So you really get a very good documentation how it works and so on and so forth. And on the other side, I started to take a look into the web dashboard when the navigation rail came out. And there is an experimental sample on the GitHub repository of Flutter. And they created their responsive behavior with the adaptive scaffold. And it's also a very cool package that is internally used in the Flutter team at the moment. So it's also very heartily recommended to take a look there.
Cool. So those are the packages which is really helpful. You don't have to write a code from scratch, and you can build a responsive design by just pulling those packages into your project, and then you can directly just go ahead and implement that. And yeah, you have a great responsive web as well as your mobile app design, which you can just directly run into your mobile app as well as on your tablets.
Yes.
So that is a great stuff which we are getting from the Flutter, and even I had a huge experience, great experience, and a huge experience developing the Flutter web. So I would recommend you to, the audience, that they should go ahead and check some other packages as well. The great packages which I already experienced, and I'm working on that. Basically, I'm working on the documentation of that particular package that is Velocity X. So I would recommend you to just go ahead and check that Velocity X as well, because you will have a great experience. The way I experienced Velocity X is, you can manage your code pretty good. You will not run into some bad way of organizing your code. So only one bad feedback from my side, right, being a Flutter developer, is sometime if you have a huge line of codes into your IDE, it's really hard to to understand what's going on this screen, because the way Flutter code gets structured is not that great. That is my personal opinion. But when it comes to Velocity X, it is highly inspired from the Swift UI. So this is the recent story what I have experienced, that I want to write a Swift UI. I want to be a native developer for iOS, and I thought, okay, I should start learning the iOS stuff. But after that, I realized, I know, because I know Velocity X, so that it is pretty same compared to the Swift UI. So the Velocity X package is highly inspired from the Swift UI. So that is the one package. You will get all the responsive widgets over there as well. You can just go ahead and check it out to the all audience if they want to know, or if they want to work on Velocity X as well. So anything else you want to add from your side, like any other packages or some other widgets which you want to introduce for responsive design?
So if you stick with responsive design and you maybe don't want to use a package, then I would always recommend to use or try to use as many expandables or flexibles and rows and columns as possible, because with that you have a very easy way to, if you have already identified that you are in landscape mode or in portrait mode, you can very easily identify or change it from a row to a column, or vice versa, to just already create like a responsive design that mostly works, because it is still the same device at the end. And another thing that I could maybe add is there is a common saying in responsive design work, which is mobile first. So you try to get first everything on your mobile screen and then get it bigger to the other sides. And the cool thing about Flutter is that you do that anyway, because most of us are working first on a mobile device and then bring it to something bigger or bigger screens. So that is fantastic that we already do that in a very great manner. So try to stick with that, and don't just open up your browser and think I'm putting everything everywhere. There are reasons why you can really work with that, and you have that advantage. Use it.
Yeah, so the expanded widget and other widgets, they actually add some responsiveness to your code. But if you want to make your UI look different on different screens, for example, you want to have some extra margin on a bigger screen, then expanded widget doesn't work. So at that specific of time, we need to make it responsive using layout builders or getting the width of the screen with the help of media query class. So I guess we have enough talk. We can just go ahead and take a questions from users if we can just answer them.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and have a quick Q&A session. So guys, you can just go ahead and ask questions so that we can display it on the screen, and then we try our level best to answer them. So if you guys have any questions, you can just go ahead and post it in the comment section or in the live chat. I would recommend you to put in the live chat because we cannot read the comment section right now. So go ahead and put in the the live chat. So everyone are saying hello to Mehtab. So hi to Mehtab from Trading Codes as well. They are missing Mehtab, ma'am.
That's very important that to mention Mahtab. I think she made a very good job since she started in my channel, or with our channel now, and it's made so much easier everything. So thank you very much, Mahtab. You did a great job.
So I personally enjoyed the last session, which you guys had a recipe app. If you remember, you guys were.
Sure.
So if you want to see some responsive samples, then I would, okay, we got a first question. Do we have any responsive package for desktop application? So do we have any package in a desktop application is, I would say that you can use any package, because the package which I said and which Max recommended, they both works on your mobile apps as well as desktop apps as well as your web app. So you can just go ahead and try those packages right away for your desktop applications as well.
You just have to make sure that they don't depend on anything that really don't work on desktop. So for example, if your package is depending on something that don't works, for example, on Windows desktop, like Path Provider, for example, then you will get some problems.
Yeah, so those path providers and all, they have different file structures for different operating systems. So of course, there is some problem on path providers.
Yeah.
So the Android users want to see some design samples. So I would recommend you to just go ahead and check out my portfolio, which is not fully built, but I have built it using Velocity X, and it is pretty responsive. So you can just go ahead and check it out. You will get a link in a comment section. Let me just get the link. Or yeah, you will get a link over there.
And
so you will easily see that those. Yeah, go ahead, Max.
Yep. Another solution would be the Flutter Gallery, if you have seen that already. And the Flutter Gallery is also pretty responsive and works perfectly fine on all devices.
So Android user, you can just go ahead and check out the. So Rakshit is asking how layout builder works. So the layout builder is pretty common. Like you can just go ahead and use it to know what's happening with your window, right? You can just go ahead and take a look what exactly happening with your window is. You can get the orientation, you can get the height and width of your screen, right? So layout builder is specifically designed to work with your screen, and you will easily get the aspect ratios of your containers and whatever the child's inside the layout builder. So you can just go ahead and go ahead, Max.
Just be careful. I think the layout builder itself is always giving you the information about the parent widget. So it tells you what the parent widget has for a size and width. And with that, you can work then to create on the smaller size your parts. So I think at least that was correct, if I remember right.
Yeah. So we will be sharing the package's name. I guess Minnu is asking for the package which is responsive. So as we said, Max, the package which you were talking about, what's the package name? I'm sorry, I don't
That
remember.
is no worries. That's once responsive scaffold from Rody Davis. And
Okay.
the other one, or not only Rody Davis, but from the Flutter community with Rody Davis. And the other one is adaptive scaffold, which is currently used inside of the navigation rail example from the Flutter team.
Okay. So you can just go ahead and check it out on pub.dev. You can easily get the documentation on pub.dev as well. So do we have any more questions from your side, or we can just go ahead and wrap up the session? I guess we had a good communication with Max. So we crossed almost 25 minutes of talk, and let's have
Perfect.
one more minute let's wait for one more minute for the questions Q&A from the. So do we have any more Q&As from the audience? Then we can just go ahead and.
How would you recommend someone to start with Velocity X?
Okay, so Velocity X is not different from Flutter, right? You can just have the same. You can have a same experience which you have on Flutter, but the thing is, you gonna use the extension highly on each and every widget. So it is more similar to all different programming language like Java's, and the extensions, you're going to use more extensions. So for example, if you want to center your text widget, so you will use text dot center instead of wrapping that widget with a center widget, right? Giving a child widget for center, you can just go ahead and use dot center. So you have a less line of code, right? And your code is well organized, and you can easily have understanding when you just go ahead and read your code after few years or few months or few days, and that will be a great understanding for the other developers who is going to read your code in future. So that is the main reason why I love Velocity X, and why I write code in Velocity X, because you use a great use of extensions. So everything have, and it's not like you cannot integrate your normal Flutter widget with Velocity X. As I said, you can integrate your Velocity X widgets with Flutter widget as well. So if you're using text widget, you can use the extension on that widget as well, which is coming from Velocity X package. And it have many Velocity X scaffold, it have responsive design, it have so right now what I can say is, from my experience, if you're familiar with Bootstrap, you get many designs in Bootstrap, right? In the same way, if you need that kind of stuff, I won't say it is similar, but if you want that kind of experience into your Flutter app development, then Velocity X is the perfect choice.
Okay.
Which package do you use to check if your app is responsive? So this is the question from Mehtab ma'am. So we need to check it. I don't think so. We need to check it. We need to make it, and then we can check it. So of course we need to use a package for that, and then we can check it.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what Mahtab is telling here about, and I think she knows the answer. It is more a general question that maybe everyone is interested in. There is a package on pub.dev called Device Preview, and with that you have the possibility to get different screen sizes and different tablets and so on that you can directly use to create a very easy way to see the different responsive layers in one device. You don't have to restart everything. You can just click it through. And you get like this Chrome experience with the dev tools, or and for the Firefox or something else. So you can directly make this stuff responsive like you need it. And that's pretty fantastic to work with. Then you can very easily come into that working place where you can get the different responsive layouts, check it out, get increasing, make some pictures, send it to your designers, get more information. But in general, I highly recommend, whenever you are finished with everything, always test on a real device before bringing it to the production, because the real device will have completely different results, maybe.
Okay, so we have what was the package name? I'm sorry.
The package name is device preview. I will
Yes, exactly.
send
Yeah,
you
yeah,
all.
device preview. Yeah, I had never used that, but yeah, that is a great package. I have come to that. So, which emulator can we use in order to check responsive design? So, as mentioned right now on the previous question itself, we need to use a package, right? And that package gives you a different emulators, if I'm not wrong, right? Right, Max? You get a different devices over there, and you can run your application on that device. So you will get all the possible emulators on that package, if I'm not wrong.
It's not. I
Okay.
think it's more that the constraints of that is creating inside. So you get like a fake emulator inside of your current running emulator. But if you are searching for different emulators, you can just install different ADVs inside of your Android SDK and just run them up. And then you can also check that against a different device. So if you know you have a Samsung Galaxy 2, then you can install that in Android Studio, for example, or in your SDK, and you can just run that up to just see if the responsive design worked.
Cool. So what are the different ways we could have responsiveness? So different ways we can have responsiveness. Yeah, the very first thing for that, you need to know the orientation of your device, right? Whether it is on portrait mode or is in landscape mode. So you don't want to make your device, your app look same on the all orientation. There may be a possibility that you need to show different widgets when you have a different orientation. So yeah, first thing, when you go with responsiveness, you need to go ahead and check whether your device is in a landscape mode or is in a portrait mode. So first thing is that go ahead and check it, and then we can go ahead and write the responsiveness of that particular orientation. So we target landscape, and then we target we target to a portrait, and then we write a code for different orientation. Yeah. So this kind of responsiveness we do have. So can we have another question? What is the future for? So this is saying that what is the future of Flutter Web? So you know that writing a code for your mobile app and then running that same code on a Flutter Web, running the same code on your Wear OS, running your same code on the desktop apps. So if you know Flutter, then you're going to be a universal developers where you can just go ahead and build all the apps, whether it is desktop, web, mobile, tablet. So yeah, the future is going to be a bright. Right now the web is in beta, but there is going to be a huge boom when it's going to come into the market, as we have for Flutter mobile apps. So yeah, you're going to have a bright future for
in general, if you are taking a look into Flutter in the GitHub repository and you see all the different issues that they are working currently with, and also the project plans with the roadmap, it is really looking great. There are, of course, some limitations at the moment. So, for example, I'm still fighting with some pictures. If you rotate them in web, it's getting a bit weird. But these are small issues, and we are working with a platform or framework that currently runs on everything, like Linux, Windows, everything, right? And everywhere is a release mode now. And that is pretty fantastic. So we also have to take care of a lot of side effects. So if you start to work in the Flutter repository and you change a bit and suddenly all the different things don't work anymore but the web, then it's of course a bit more work. So I think we have to be a bit more patient there to give it a real great experience at the end.
Cool. I'm getting one more question from Android user saying VelocityX documentation is ready for. So still the work is going on. It is not ready fully. So yeah, you need to wait for that. But I guess it is going to be ready soon or sooner. So I guess that's all from today's. So I cannot be thankful enough for having Max on my channel, and I again, it's a huge thanks from my side that you came on this. You gave your important time to us talking about responsive design in Flutter. So thanks a lot, Max. And would love to collaborate more with you, because I love the way you are doing stuff on your YouTube channel. I would love to see more and more whenever you come online. So yeah, thanks a lot from my side, and I hope we do this session more like this, and let's
Absolutely.
keep doing.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. I'm looking forward to everything that we do, and I'm looking forward what you are doing now in the next couple of weeks with the different streams that you are planning. So looking forward to see that. Thank you everyone that you have been there today, and till the next time.
Yeah, sure. So we're gonna have more guests on this series. I cannot take the name right now, but of course we're gonna have more guests over here, and I hope things goes well. And thanks, Max, for one more time. And yeah,
thank you.
Bye,
and
everyone.
See you. Take care.
Yeah, sure. Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.